I say this a lot where, who can understand who can understand the white kid getting into hip hop, the black kid who's into fucking rock and metal, right? Like, I mean, straight up,
Right.
who can relate? You don't have anybody who can relate to you better.
What's up, y'all? Harkos here with KP with the Money Making Sense podcast. How the hell y'all doing here today? Coming in for another episode. And me and KP were just talking a little bit before, trying to see, like saying what's up and everything like that. Because me and him chat back and forth, but he's in Washington State.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And I'm here in Indiana. So we're in totally different time zones, damn near on the other side of the planet from each other. If you think about it, you think about it like United States wise, like we're basically like you guys are up while we're asleep and vice versa type of shit. So it's almost like you being on the other side of the planet, but
3 hours ahead. Yeah, you guys are 3 hours ahead. So, but I grew up plus growing up in Detroit, you know what I'm saying? Growing up, born and raised in Detroit, I'm like, I totally understand. So it's like, it's just like, it's one of the things that's like, it's just it's later, like I was explaining there. It's just, it gets later in the day, or like we wake up the latest during,
Right, yeah. And that's why I said I thought that was crazy, man. I sent you a text message at like 9 o'clock this morning, double checking we were still be good to record today. And that would have been 6 o'clock your time. You text me back like 5 minutes later. I'm like, yo, this guy's awake. I slept in a little bit and he's awake at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I am a morning person, just because, so just let everybody know that I am definitely a morning person. So
hey, it's all good. But like he was coming up with a topic or whatever, and I started getting my juices flowing. So we went ahead and hit record on here today. So go ahead and start off, KP. What was the topic you were wanting to talk about here today? You were talking about one of your artists. You were talking to them.
Just one of the things we've gone through is that one of my artists want to take time off. Right, kind of hope, because things are going on in life. Pretty much life is getting in the way, right? And the thing is, when I hear an artist say that, the question I ask is, are you taking time off to re-energize? Are you taking time off to re-strategize? Or are you taking the time off to gradually give up?
Right. Yeah. Are you accepting defeat, or are you having to adjust fire, basically?
Right.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I see that a lot with people too, and I think that it's kind of a mix between both of them, because some people like myself, like I said in the last episode, I took 2 years off. I had a podcast that I was doing, once or twice a week for 4 years. Sometimes it was more, like 3 times a week or whatever. It just varied. Right. But I was doing it for 4 years. A couple years of that, I was live on internet radio stations while I was doing it, throwing up on the podcast. And then I was also doing my own music as well too. And then doing like the networking and shit like that for all of that.
Right.
And then I took 2 years off. I didn't expect it to be 2 years, but I took some time off to get my education right. And then now I came back and hitting the ground running, and I still have problems where life gets in the way. Like for instance, the beginning of this year, I was like, all right, I got enough music ready to go that hasn't been released yet, that I've been working on over the last couple of years, just like whenever I get in the mood. But I got enough music. I can release, one music video a month and chop the content up and create some other special content for it and everything like that. And just stay steady the whole year and everything. And I can book it up. Like I was saying before, I have a strategy where, you try to work 6 months at a time. And so if you can come up with as many months as possible, come up with it and then schedule it on all the socials to post, once a month at specific, and you just keep scheduling it out, and you can schedule it out as many months as possible. Then you don't have to sit there and be like, oh shit, it's been almost 4 weeks since I posted a music video and I still got this video that I need to shoot, or I need to finish editing it, or whatever the situation. I still need to get mix and master on the track, or I need to, redo my vocals real quick, or whatever the situation is.
Right.
If you have it 6 months in advance, yeah, you still need to keep yourself to a deadline, but you're not at the front facing deadline. You're at a back end facing deadline,
Exactly.
because you still have, 3, 4, 5 more months already scheduled content out there, at least for like the main content, right? You still have that out there, but you can focus coming back. And I had a few months. I didn't have 6. I almost had 6, and I was working on getting my 6, but then life got in the way. I had to start working a lot more and stuff like that at my regular job. And so I had enough for like 3 or 4 months. And then my life didn't get any easier. I got more congested. And so I went like 1.5 months without posting any new music related content. But what I did in the meantime, instead of posting new music, I just took some clips, some of my old stuff, and just kind of rehashed it out, and at least try to make 1 or 2 posts a week
Right.
on my socials to kind of keep it going, And whereas I didn't post any new music videos or drop any new music or anything like that, because I was still working on things in the background and I had my work to do and everything, I still got it done. And so like, that is totally different. That's perfectly acceptable. If you got to take, you think it's only going to be like a couple months, ends up being 6 months to a year that you're taking off because you're working on things. And yeah, you may have laziness. You may get interrupted with your vices and stuff like that, like we all do. Fuck, I did.
Right.
But that's a total difference between accepting defeat and just kind of bowing out slowly, which
Right.
I've seen people do. And it's tragic, but at the same time, it kind of speaks to their personality.
Right. And because you're right. And here's the thing I want to say, because just hearing what you were saying, like, and what was running through my mind is throughout that, when you're doing that, when you're wanting to take time off, if you will, right? I'm looking at that footage. If you are doing something, if you are like on the grind, if you will, right? And I'm speaking for artists, number one, unless you have that type of personality, like let's say you have The Weeknd or Sampha type of personality, or maybe King Diamond. Okay, we're gonna go back and
Right.
go back, right? But if you have that, okay, that's one thing. But in today's age, as an artist, as a musician in a band or musician, you have the privilege and the what's the word? What's the word? The
Obligation?
No, not obligation, but you have the
Opportunity?
opportunity. Yeah, you have the opportunity to really utilize BTS footage, behind the scenes footage, right? If you're going through that grind, hey, take some pictures of yourself getting it in, right? If you sitting at your keyboard, you working on your guitar, you working on your raps. Put that on the goddamn, put that on there so that and schedule the content. Drop
Yeah.
it 2 days, like you drop 2 posts. Okay, you just schedule it so that you don't get. Because here's the thing: what artists don't realize is that your relativity on social media, if you're trying to really get your music out there like that, your relativity is every goddamn thing. And you do not want to you don't want to be a hit or miss. And I know that from experience. And the thing is that what's crazy is that I don't have the 9 to 5 that everybody, that a lot of guys out here have. Okay. But understanding that I want to succeed at this, I have to take it as a job. I have to
Absolutely.
take it as if I want to make a career out of being a music marketer or a podcaster or an entrepreneur, you got to take it as a job. Just like the thing is, and I want people to understand this too, artists, because we're speaking on real life here, right? If you do have a job, If you got a job, you got a 9 to 5 or swing or a graveyard, shift or whatever, okay? The opportunities to treat your job as if you are running your own label. You know that that there are managers, bosses, supervisors out there who are very supportive of seeing employees who do good, and they're out there trying to get their own business started. Here's why. And I want everybody to really keep this game on this, okay? You think about McDonald's. Now, I'm gonna ask you this question, Chris. What is the thing that McDonald's? What is the one thing that they said the owner when he started McDonald's? What did he say? He said that they are not. It's not about the burgers. What was it about?
It's about the employees, the people that work there.
Nope.
What did he say?
It was about real estate.
Oh yeah, because they're a real estate company. Yeah,
he's in the business of real estate.
Right, yeah, because they're a real estate company. Yeah, and they own more real estate and like that. Like, yeah, I know the statistics with that. Yeah, that makes sense.
See, so when you got it, so guys, so artists, when you look at your brand, look at yourself in the situation where you are in daily life, okay? I want you to think about a song from Miss Dolly Parton. Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. What did she tell us? Okay, speak on this some more. What's another good song? Unemployment's at a record high. People coming, people going, people want to die. Don't ask me because I don't know why, but it's like that, and that's the way it is. Right?
Yeah.
Speak on it.
Exactly.
Music is life, right? So when you are out there, I'm gonna check on this. Glorilla, Lil Russell, okay? They use their jobs like they use their job, their 9 to 5s like they were on the label.
Yep.
Glorilla would be in the daggone drive-through. She was able to flow for people because people knew who she was, and she was able to talk to them and kick it and just be relative to them. How many times have you walked through you've had a conversation? Hell, maybe stop and had the little cute little gay little white dude up there doing a little yada 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 yada. Little white boy get in on it. Why? Because he works. He works. Yes, he does. But guess what? He still loves music. And
absolutely.
That's the thing. People don't think about the fact that you got a job and you know how you're engaging with people. If you're a good employee and your boss is loving you, guess what that boss is gonna do, or the supervisor? They're gonna back you up.
Absolutely.
Have you had a boss go to your damn show? Don't tell me that they haven't. When you that employee, when you that worker, you be busting your ass at your job. That boss is gonna come see you play.
Absolutely. And then that's the thing is that if you show that, hey, yeah, I do a good job here at my job, but my real passion lays over here, and they're going to see that. But if you're a shit ass employee and then you tell them, hey, what's up? They're going to be like, oh, you're a shit employee. Why would I want to go see your shit music?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because the quality of the quality of your character is defined across everything that you do. And even if you don't give a fuck about what you're doing for your 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it, even if you don't give a fuck about it, you still need to do as good as possible to try to maximize your income and everything like that. That way, whenever you get out of work, you can do what you got to do, But see, that's the thing is that everybody's got a different life situation. It is what it is. But that some people have their life basically handed for them. And
gotta look at it
that,
from an artist's perspective though, Chris. I'm
right.
saying like you got just from the just you gotta really think about it from that artist perspective. Like it's not, let's not look at like privilege, or let's not look at all those things. Let's not look at those factors. What I'm saying is that I'm talking about if you have a 9 to 5 and you feel like you feel like if you, or you say you lose your job, say something went down, when you lose your job, right? So you want to take that time off as an artist. You want to take it, but you start think, and I want you to think of this too, where there's other factors in, like they want to take time off from their, if they paid for mentorship, right? They'll want to take time off of that, right? And it's like, no, you don't need to take time off of your mentorship. This is where your mentorship can really help you.
Yeah, because if you're starting to feel stuck or whatever,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, now, if they're not, whether they, I don't care if they've been rich, poor, middle class, it doesn't matter to me. The thing is that when you get into this business, none of that, your classes, that doesn't matter. It's whether or not, what are you willing to do in order to make your music career a career? Right?
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I was kind of saying it based off of that, whereas it comes with work ethic and motivation, where if they're used to having everything just handed to them, even if they're dirt poor, right? If they're still living, off of somebody else, even though they're a grown ass adult type of thing, whether it's poor situation, middle class, upper class, it doesn't matter. If you don't have that motivation where you're like, I'm going to go get what I want, I'm not going to steal it, but I'm going to work and get what I need to get. And I'm going to do whatever's necessary. You're working long ass hours. And then after you get off work, you're on the computer trying to educate yourself on how to do something. Like I remember when I started my podcast back in 2017, I didn't know how to edit video. Right. But I had a video aspect of it. And I was working all day at my regular job, and I was coming home, hanging out with the family for a little bit and everything like that. When kids went to bed, then I came in here on my computer and I was, learning how to edit and doing practicing and stuff like that. And there was so many times that the person I was with at that time, she would come in and wake me up 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'd be asleep on my desk, like my head on my desk asleep. And she'd be like, hey, you need to get up and go to bed. You got to get up and go to work here in like 5 hours,
Right.
Stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. And that's exactly what KP's talking about as well too. You don't have to kill yourself, but you got to get it.
Right.
You got to put that effort in. And whenever things, like he was saying, if you got a mentorship or you got somebody who's an unofficial mentor or something like that, and you're going and talking to them, oh, I'm thinking about just quitting. Like, why you need to come up to them and be like, hey, instead of saying, oh, I feel like I'm quitting because I'm going to quit music, or I'm going to quit because,
or I'm going to take time off.
Just take time off.
It's that very word. It's those words right there that just, when I hear those, I'm like, okay, you're telling me basically you're on a path of giving up, and I'm not buying that. And what I'm saying is this, but I do get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Right.
More of where I'm at, here's where I'm more, to just be a little bit more specific of where I'm coming from. It's when you lose that job, right? When you lose that job and then you get to that point of, well, you know what? I need to take time off from music because I need to be able to take care of my family. I understand that. But here's my thing. You're using them as an excuse, and you're using the fact that you lost your job as an excuse.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry to say it like that to people who are watching this and know me, and probably will be like, damn, this nigga gonna put me out. No, it's not like that. What I'm saying is that it's one of those things where you get like, it's like when shit gets tough, you're gonna be basically like, oh, well, let me just take time off from the thing that I have the most passion about. Because what we start doing is that we start thinking like, that's the problem. Oh, well, I'm putting too much in this music and it's not making me no money and it's not doing this, that, and the other, right? So I need to take time off or take a time away from the music so then I can go get a job, so I can find another job. Dude, okay, that to me, that is an excuse.
Absolutely. I
That's
agree.
what I mean by like, no, bruh, you don't need to be trying to take time off. You don't need to be running away from it. You need to be really focusing on the things that you really need to do in order for you to succeed within your music career. And
Yep.
that's what I had said. One of the things, maybe if you listen to what people are saying to you or read your comments, you will see, okay, maybe that's it,
Mhm.
right? Instead of just being like, well, I'm just going to take time off and things like that. Okay, so what are you going to do within that time? What are you going to do within that time?
Right.
Because now you're gonna just miss you're gonna miss your class, you're gonna stop doing the courses, you're just gonna pretty much, and that's what happens. It's a pattern. I've seen it happen when they lose that interest. Musicians, when musicians and artists, and I'm talking like photographers, anybody who has that passion, especially that talented artistic passion. Excuse me for that. When they lose, when you start seeing it when they're losing, you
Yep.
slowly start seeing just their attitude towards certain things. Their livelihood changes, their attitude changes. They start going through these motions, and you start seeing them. You start seeing these certain emotions. You start seeing the mixed emotions. You start seeing well, am I really happy doing this, or am I in my happy place, or these things. Like, it's always has to be like this for them. It's like being a business, taking it far as a business. That's just way too much. And for those of us who have that, it's like, okay, you take music too serious because I want this shit to be my career. I mean, whether if I'm playing or if I'm doing a podcast on it, or if I'm running a company, doing music marketing, running a label, yes, I want to be a part of music. I love this shit, right? And then, but when I see other artists, they will totally go, a different direction and not stay in the music department, and not stay in the music business. They won't
Right.
even they won't look at, okay, well, maybe, okay, I'm getting a little tired of being on stage. Well, maybe I want to teach. Maybe I want to, teach some guitar. Maybe I could teach, start teaching guitar. Go on YouTube, start running a YouTube channel, start doing guitar education, doing music history, or setting up where you're talking about the politics of music. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many
Right.
things that you can do. And I just feel like a lot of artists, they get to that point, like I said, when when you hear that word, when you hear those words, I'm going to take some time off. That's, to me, you're setting yourself up for failure and giving up and giving up.
Yeah,
Rarely do you
absolutely.
see them straight. Rarely do you see them say, you know what, I'm going to take some time off when they say, well, it's not, oh, I'm going to take some time off from social media. That's another one that they say too.
Yeah.
I'm going to get away from social media. I'm going to no, don't. Schedule the content. Put up behind the scenes footage. But but still, you need to punch the fear in the face and record.
Right. Well, and see, the thing is too, is that you can take a break from scrolling social media and still
Right.
still post and ghost. See, that's the thing, is that people will say that. I hear people say that as well too. Oh, I'm going to take a break from social media, man. It's just too much drama. There's too much nonsense. Blah 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 blah. And so I tell them, I'm like, well, stop fucking scrolling then. You know, stop fucking scrolling. Just go on there, post and ghost. Anytime you have a thought in your head or whatever, or if you're just like so what I do is, like, I rarely scroll through social media. I used to be big on that, and I had to take myself completely off of social media for a while and then come back to it and in increments, because I got addicted to it. And that's what a lot of people get. It's just very addicting to just, when you're bored, scroll through, see what's up, give me some entertainment. I'm bored, I want to entertain. You start flipping, right? But you can't do that. You gotta just, like, post and ghost. That's why I tell people all the time. And, like, I tell people, I'm like, look, just ignore social media from a consumer standpoint. Only be a producer.
Yeah.
And then that will help you maximize social media even better. And you know what? Okay, fine. If you want to use social media one day a week for research purposes, or even, one night a week, you just want to turn your brain off and scroll through TikTok and just laugh your ass off of shit. I get it, right? But I'm talking about the every day, multiple times a day, once an hour, you're checking your Facebook or your TikTok or whatever the fuck. That's excessive. That's going to fuck your mind up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to be sitting there, even if you're sitting here posting stuff and you're not seeing the growth that you think you should have or that you want, or you're comparing yourself to somebody else in a similar situation, then that starts fucking your head up as well too, because then you're not feeling like it's worth it. And that's where a lot of people start getting that, oh, I'm going to take some time off type of thing, because then they're going to be like, oh, well, I need to take some. It's like, no, okay, you want to take time off and get your education. Start looking instead of talking. If you want to do something like that, that makes sense. But when you're just feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like it's not worth it, and sometimes you got somebody in your ear, oh, you're spending all this time on music, oh, it's not doing anything, oh, it's just a negative financially, you know what I'm saying? You're putting all this money into it, you're not
right there, bro.
Yeah, exactly. You're putting all this money into your music, or all this time into your music and stuff like that, and it's not going nowhere, it's not doing nothing, blah blah blah, whatever the situation. And it's like, you have to realize why that person is saying that. And it's hard when you're in the situation. I was talking with one of my previous engineers about it. Me and him, like, we didn't talk for a couple of years. He just kind of fell off the grid. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, whatever, maybe I said or did something, pissed him off, and he just said, fuck you, and didn't actually say, fuck you. I didn't know what happened. Well, all of a sudden he added me on Instagram like 6 months ago, something like that. Right. And, I was like, hey man, what's up? He's like, oh, hey, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. And then he just came straight out and he's like, I was like, yeah, man. Or I said, yeah, man, I ain't heard from you in a bit, I didn't know what's up or whatever. And he basically had that situation where, yeah, he was feeling a little jaded on music because he's been doing it for like most of his life and everything like that. Right. But the main problem is that he got in a relationship and everything was fine. But then that person slowly started like eating at him. Oh, you're spending too much time on this, oh, that, and anything like that. And it basically got him to where, like, anytime he tried to work on music, it was a situation in his relationship. Well, luckily he ended up leaving that and everything like that. And I was telling him, I'm like, look, man, I get where you're coming from on that, trying to balance a relationship and work and your passion of music. That can be a thing. The big problem is that people have the biggest time, especially nowadays, with getting delayed gratification. They want instant gratification. And I fall victim to that as well too. When I post up a video, if I post up a video and I see a few hundred views within the first couple of hours, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And then I post the next one and I get 1 view on it in 2 weeks. I'm like, what the fuck? It fucks with your head. I get what you're saying with that. But you have to know this is a long game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it was a different time and everything like that, but it took Nelly 4 years for Country Grammar to blow nationwide. Yeah. For 4 years, he was hitting every radio station, going to all these shows, doing all these shows, selling them out of the back of his fucking trunk and everything like that, CDs and everything like that, before it finally popped nationwide with his fucking, with Country Grammar just hitting the airwaves and all over MTV and everything like that, right? And yes, that was a totally different time frame. There's no social media. Internet was basically dog shit, everything like that. But that same kind of thing still happens now. You brought up Lil Russell, and I saw, Lil Russell, people like that. Like, it doesn't matter if you look at people. Let's talk about 6ix9ine. Yeah. That motherfucker blew the fuck up out of nowhere on a certain perspective, but he'd been working on that for a while. Yeah. He didn't just pop up.
his numbers his numbers were hitting in Russia.
Right. Yeah, that
And that's
too.
where he decided to go. He was like, okay, if I'm going international,
Yeah.
hell, why not go where my shit is being loved?
Exactly. Well, there's that, but it's also too, he didn't just pick up a mic and be like, all right, let me drop Gummo real quick and then shoot a video to it and then boom, I'm on this shit, right?
Yeah.
No. Like it took some grind, and that's during the Spotify and SoundCloud and all that shit. Like Russ took how many years of dropping a new track every week before he finally started making some movement? You know what I'm saying? I think he took like a couple years before he started gaining any traction, and he was doing a new song every week on SoundCloud. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right?
yeah, that is hard. And like, if you listen to him, like I listened to his interview with Gary Vee, and he was talking about it, and he was like, yes, he had that situation where he was living with his parents. He was just barely, like 18, 19 or whatever when he started doing it, yada, yada, yada. He didn't have a family. He wasn't 26 years old with 2 infants and a wife and all that shit, right? Yeah, he didn't have that. But what he did have is that motivation and dedication. And I got kids. I had I was in a relationship whenever I started my podcast and was hopped back into music, and I was doing all that shit, grinding. I know exactly what that's like. And I've seen people who have families be like, oh, I got to take time off for my family. It's like, no, you don't, man. I was working on shit when my family was asleep. Like I taught myself how to edit video. I taught myself how to do a lot of shit on my own for free on YouTube, just spending my time. And instead of, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, look, I understand having passions and having an escape vector from your day-to-day that is not music, that's not your, whatever it is, whether it's, watching anime or watching sports or playing a sport or whatever, video games or whatever it is. But you have to minimize that, because if I see so many people doing this during basketball season, especially because I'm in the hip hop realm. Basketball is a lot bigger than hip hop.
Yeah.
And during basketball season, there's like a game every fucking day. And some of these motherfuckers are watching every fucking game. And I'm like, yo, when are you dropping another track? When are you posting anything on social media? Like, I understand, like when they post stuff on social media about, yo, LeBron this, or, whoever this, like they're dropping names, they're talking about the most recent game. Yes, that's cool. Drop current events, drop that content, but throw in some music shit too. Take when Steph Curry did a fucking 360 dunk or whatever the fuck he did, right? I don't pay attention to sports, right? So I don't know. But like when Steph Curry did a crazy dunk or whatever, clip right. Okay, yeah. I forgot. Right? He does threes. He does threes. I forgot. But anyway, whenever Steph or whoever does something and that's the current event, take that fucking clip, throw a fucking track of yours that's already released out there. It doesn't have to be new. It could be a 3-year-old track. Drop that behind that motherfucker, throw that up on all the reels and TikToks and shorts. Do that shit. You know what I'm saying? You can take your passion. That's why I tell artists all the time. I'm like, look, post shit that has nothing to do with your music. That's a passion of yours. Doesn't matter what it is. A lot of people try to fit into a stereotype. It's like, like I said, I deal with hip hop. So people are like, oh, well, I either got to flash some guns or I got to smoke some weed or I got to talk about fucking bitches. It's like, no, you don't. If you like playing pool, talk about pool. Yeah. If you like shoes, talk about fucking shoes. That's hip hop as a motherfucker. If you like me, you like gardening, or if you like working on cars, or if you like fucking sewing, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, yeah, some of it's not gonna look as gangster as a motherfucker, but if that's not you, don't be it.
Right.
Be you. Just do what you got to do. And I think that has to play with it a lot too, is that people are trying to be something more than what they are, and not just as a caricature. For those that don't know, caricatures is just when you accentuate a little bit of your own personality, but it's still your personality. And right. So it's like your personality, like right on here, right? I seem super, super outgoing and everything like that, but I'm a more reserved person. But I do have that outgoing spurt whenever I'm passionate about something. When somebody gets me on topic about something, right, I'm the most extroverted motherfucker you can think of. But but in every day, I'm pretty much laid back, low key, and everything like that. Just meander through life, right?
Right.
But you know, you can take what you're passionate about and throw that up there. And that's what I see a lot of people. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for
No,
half a
you're
second.
good. You're
You
good
could
because I
tell.
was gonna say I was gonna
Yeah.
actually add on to that
Right.
what you
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
just to like
Yeah. But what I was saying is that some people, instead of just being a caricature of themselves and turning up a little bit, right?
mhm,
Like, you know, if you're not a very confrontational person, but when people piss you off, you get some thoughts in your mind and then you put that out and that's in your music, you know, and you're kind of hyper aggressive in your music and stuff like that. You don't have to keep that persona up all the time. You can be like,
right.
hey, yo, that's my pissed off shit. Here's my I'm low down feeling type shit. And one thing I thought about when you were talking about somebody losing their job or whatever, I was talking to a couple artists not long ago. It was like in April or whatever, and I was showing them. I was like, "Hey, this is whenever I was working with a management company trying to help them out, and they had like six artists under management. I'm like, hey, you know, here's my April. You know, as I said, it's April Fools. Here's my March stats from me just posting 3 times a week, 100% organic, natural nonsense. You know, nothing like that. No money behind it. Nothing like that. Everybody post up your stats and everything like that. Let's compare. You know, a little friendly competition. And 2 people out of that messaged back in there and said, oh man, you know, I'm not doing that. I'm going through some things right now. And I said, okay, write it out. You know what I'm saying? Do a song to it. And like,
Mhm.
cause like this one guy, one of the guys, one of his friends got like one of his good friends got shot and killed.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I get it. That's a fucked up time. Put a pen to pad, get a fucking beat, get it out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's therapy. And you know how many motherfuckers can relate to that shit? So many motherfuckers can relate to that shit. And you put out some real shit, you know what I'm saying? Like some When Thugs Cry or some deeper type of shit, you know, like when Boosie put out that track Miss My Dogs, like whenever he was, you know, Lil Boosie, not Boosie Badass, we
Yeah.
put out Miss My Dogs. A lot of Boosie's older shit was real and raw, you know, like there's one track from fuck, I lost the name of it. When the dude that said throw some D's on that bitch, like that
Rich
dude,
yeah, Rich
Rich
Boy.
Boy, Rich Boy, yeah. So Rich Boy, he had, you know, throw some D's on. That was his big song. Everybody was thinking he's this flashy dude. He came out with a track. I can't remember the name of the track, but it's a video where he's walking through a graveyard talking about some raw, real
Yeah.
shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that was some shit. I love that shit. And people resonate with that. But people try to live up to a certain thing. It's like, oh, I've made my name as this. It's like, no, you ain't gotta be that. You
No.
know, you just be you, you
Yeah.
know,
And
be
that's what Sean.
versatile.
Yeah, and that's what Sean, well, it's not well, you can be versatile, but that's Sean. It was funny you talk about that because now since we getting into the topic of versatility, does diversity and or versatility hurt or help an artist? Let's go ahead and talk about that.
Well,
Now,
before you get in, I don't think it does. But what do you think?
okay. So when you think about so just to give a little bit of a detail, we talking about this. All right. We look at since we're talking about personalities and diversity, right? We look at artists like let's say Beyonce with Sasha Fierce, right? We can look at Rest His Soul, MF Doom and Mad Villain. Okay. And what I'm talking about, and we look at it from a kayfabe position, all right. If you think about pro wrestler, let's think about a guy who I think is one of the best at playing that showed us that he can be 3 different characters within one setting, and that was Mick Foley when he was Dude Love, Mankind, and Cactus Jack. He was able
Right.
to show us these sides of him and personalities to where we're like, we know this is Mrs. Foley's baby boy, as I got JR would say,
Right.
right? So when we look at diversity, right? When we talk about when it comes to music, say if you are a rap artist and you're into metal, right? Now we know the history of how rap and metal has been, right? We've seen the new metal movement and things like that, like Limp Bizkit and those. Now, I'm gonna say personally, I love it, and just to answer the question, um, I don't find I don't find anything wrong with being diverse or having versatility. Though I do say when you're coming out with when you're coming out with dual personalities, or you're doing diverse genres, or you're like, if you're versatile, if you can sing, now here's the thing, now there's a difference. Versatility is more like if you can sing, dance, play an instrument, perform, though that's more versatility. When we're talking diversity, that's more when we're digging into different types of genres. Okay, so there is a difference. So versatility, yes, there's nothing wrong being a versatile artist, right? A multi-instrumentalist, dancer, singer, rapper. You can do all those, and you can do like you got three different talents, that's fine. Here's where diversity has its trouble. Cultures and demographics, okay? We have to look at, number one, say if you got someone so I got an artist who does pop soul, okay? Now, her music is, the thing is like, and I told her that, if she's gonna, when it comes to like, so let's look at Money Long, okay? If J.R. McKee told Money Long, and I kind of said this similar to my artist, that he told J.R. told Money that she needed to relate to Black girls, right? And in a way where, because she's written songs for Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, she's written for some other stars, right? But now it was her to write for her. Now she's writing for her own music. So that's where he said, okay, you have to be relatable to these Black girls. And so when I asked one of my artists, I said, when it comes to your brand, or who are you trying to go, who are you looking at, right? And she straight up said, introverted, everyday. And I added Black girls because I know that's something that she does tap into, because I've read it through her bios, and we've talked about it, and just through my brand coaching with her, right? So that is where, when it comes to, and people saying, well, I want to try to relate to everybody. You're not going to, right?
No.
So, and that's why, like, when people, just like when you think about people get upset about it, but the reason why Eminem was able to reach such an audience, and he touched a lot of white boys, white men, was because he's a white dude who could rap, and he related to a lot of white boys who were in the hood, who grew up around Black, who grew up in the hood, who were at a point were being racially discriminated against. Wasn't racism, because we can take away your power, or you know what I'm saying? We can never do it.
Yeah.
But the anger, the frustration, the backlash can be taken out on you as when you were young. And that would affect anybody. That would affect me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just being a human, yeah, that would totally affect me too. So, and the fact that I say this a lot, where, who can understand the white kid getting into hip hop, the Black kid who's into fucking rock and metal, right? Like, I mean, straight up, who can relate? You don't have anybody who can relate to you better,
right?
And especially and it's because of the history that we have, right? And people don't understand. They're always like, well, why is it always like that? I'm like, y'all have to really look at the history. You have to look at the bearing of children, how biracial and, mixed children came into the world, and all these things like that. The whole psychology behind that. So so with that, right, it's like, you have to understand that people were able to relate to him because they've been there, right? And then not only that, but he could rap his ass off. So that was like, holy shit, man. If this man can do it in a place where, you know what, for the first time in our lives, it's hard for us to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Where we've been able to have privilege, and now it's hard for us to get against the man that we. Well, what do you think, right? So that whole mindset, and then us seeing him, I'm talking about us as Black people, we're seeing him too, and we're like Dame Dash said, it ain't just because he's white, it's because he's nice on the mic.
Right.
So that whole thing, so when you look at diversity, you have to look at it from like genre, because you think about metal. Okay. When you look at metal has a lot of different subgenres in there. And
Yeah.
one that really stands strong is the National Socialist black metal, right? Because that is a very anti-black, anti-Semitic, anti-LGBTQ, very white supremacist, very forward about it, right? And we have all these genres, and we have those genres in there. And then in the certain parts of thrash, certain bands were like that, were very much openly racist. I mean, Pantera was one of them, and it's like we're looking at it from that side of, okay, how do we shift how do we shift this paradigm, right? How do we shift this from going? So when it comes to diversity, it's one of those things, and I agree with Sean on this when he said it in the network. It can help you, especially if you know how to blend certain genres together and you take it into a different, like sort of like what I've done with Sonic Chaos. Being able to take free jazz and extreme metal and making it into my own, and being able to tell my stories and speak about things that I feel and speak on those politically racial issues and things like that. I'm able to twist it in there because of my understanding of both genres, right? And my love for them. That's the thing where it comes to that. A lot of artists don't really understand when they want to do diversity. They're just like, well, I want to touch everybody. I'm going to be real with you. My music don't touch everybody.
Nobody's music touches everybody.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, like, when people, they want to have that, well, I want my music to reach out to the world. And I had to tell my very artist, the one who I said, honey, you speak to introverted, everyday Black girls. And I said this, I said, eventually it's going to get to the introverted, everyday white girl, the introverted, everyday Mexican girl, the introverted, everyday Middle Eastern Indian girl, the introverted, everyday Russian girl, the introvert, right? It's going to get to them. Hell, I told her, I straight up told her, I said, baby, when you write your lyrics, don't worry about my Black ass, right? Your demographic. But as a father who has two daughters, who do have that, who one of my daughters is an introvert, my eldest, right? She will be able to, I can go and say, baby, check out this artist I got for you, honey. She could be able to listen to her.
Right.
I have my youngest daughter. She can listen to her. Right? So as a father, and even like because she got critiqued by Rick Barker. And Rick Barker told her, he said, he told her what to do from a production side, right? And that's why I told her, I said, even when you're writing your lyrics, I said, don't worry about no old ass. I said, don't worry about my Black ass and no old ass white man, right? You focus on them, because we as fathers, we'll get it.
Yep.
And we'll be able to pass down, say, baby, listen, this is, I think you should check them out.
Well, and even still, you just need to speak you and let those people resonate, because, for me, for instance, right? So I started listening to Pac actually after he passed, because my age and stuff like that. I mean, whenever he passed in 96, I was barely getting into hip hop at that time. But by the time 2000s got there and I started listening to Pac and everything like that, like Pac was very revolutionary Black, that's how he got his beginnings, raised by Black Panthers, all that shit. And even though I did not come from that kind of background whatsoever, I still felt what he was putting out. I still felt the music and the feeling that he was putting out in it, you know? And like he's one of my biggest influences on me making music myself, is that I just go from deep in the soul, and he would do that. You know, he would put out the soul, and that's what artists need to do as well too. And I think that's one thing that where I didn't resonate with Eminem. I for whatever reason I just never really could resonate with him at all. And but I see why a lot of people did, especially a lot of white boys. And it wasn't even us white boys who were into hip hop and who were getting cast out from the other white people and who were getting looked at sideways from the black people at the same time.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, there's that. That's what happened. But he also just spoke to that teenage, like that angst as well too in there. Like he had that angst and that anger and stuff like that. Whenever he was like, whenever he put out "Sorry Mama," "Sorry Mama, I never meant to. I'm just cleaning out my closet." And he's like talking all that shit. He's like, "Hey, I'm just gonna say I want to fucking kill you because I can't stand you." You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of white boys that had fucked up parents and stuff like that. Like, I'm a millennial. We were raised by Gen X. Gen X wasn't exactly the most stable fucking generation.
No,
especially
we're not.
especially back whenever, you're Gen X. Yeah. Especially back whenever y'all were fucking late teens, early 20s. You know what I'm saying?
Big thing for us too. So that's why you notice why we're so freaking hypercritical when it comes to music. Because it was that era for us where it was such an impact.
Yep, absolutely. And Eminem, he is a Gen Xer as well too. And so whenever he was reaching out to us millennial kids coming up and stuff like that, it was like we're sitting here like, oh, okay, I kind of see what you're saying and everything like that, and like a lot of the people that I knew that loved Eminem had fucked up households. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the white boys I knew that liked Eminem, they had fucked up households, and it's the same people that liked ICP and stuff like that.
And it's funny because I could relate to that because of my mom's suicide.
Right.
Just going through drugs and stuff. So it was like for me, my brother couldn't stand a nigga. Like, I don't understand why, because he was hella cool with Proof.
Right.
Rest his soul. But Eminem, he just couldn't stomach him. But I could. I was just like, and it tripped me out because then I realized I was like, yeah, because I have that rocker white boys angst in me.
Angst in you, yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, is like you brought up how, like, for instance, I wanted to say this, I didn't want to cut you off. You brought up how Pantera was like pretty overtly racist. I never realized that until I got older and I started listening to some of their music. And then I was like, whoa, right? Because like I love Pantera music, right?
I put their tattoo on my fucking forehead, nigga. Okay, I'm not even playing with y'all. And that tripped me. And you understand that man, when I kept hearing that, it was at the same time.
Like Walk. If you listen to the lyrics on Walk, which is one of their greatest songs that like got them on everywhere, you listen to Walk, you're like, hold on a second, right?
5 minutes alone.
Yo, yeah, all that stuff.
Well, and then of my skin for your racist tool. I'm sitting there like, damn, dude.
For your counter racist tool and stuff like that. And it's like, but you can kind of get their perspective a little bit. It's like they were probably talking about, hey, don't be hating on me just because I'm white. I didn't fucking do anything. Like that might be where they were coming from too.
He would mention that a lot. And I think that was one of the things that, and honestly, I think that's why it's hard for me to be, it's like there's mixed feelings because I did it. Like when I listen to that, I mean, because growing up in the D, man, I'm not going even front, nigga, this one's no fucking take, bruh. Because I was seeing that shit, and then my mom and everything. And that's why I got so into hard rock and metal and jazz, was because it took me away from the hood.
Well, and then especially like hard rock and metal, it is an energy release.
It is, and especially back then. And ours, oh
Yeah, like
God, yeah.
Pantera and Metallica and all them fuckers, you know what I'm saying? It's like I was really big into Slipknot when they came out. And like they're a big like it's like a lot of energy and stuff. It's like get that shit
Rest in
out,
peace,
you
Joey.
know? Huh? Yeah,
I
well,
said,
yeah,
rest in
yeah.
peace,
The show,
Joey
yeah,
and Sid, man. Damn.
yeah. Hey, well, I mean, that's kind of what happens over time, you know. This, but
Yeah.
but yeah, man. But like, you know, a lot of then so getting back to what we
To
were originally
diverse,
talking
yeah.
about is that when you put out music, put out your music. You know,
Yeah.
if you are like unapologetically pro whatever the fuck it is, be that.
Yeah.
Be you.
Yeah, you hate to put it
You
out
know what I'm
there.
saying?
Put it out there, dude. I agree.
No matter what it is. Yeah, some people are not gonna like you because they're gonna think, oh, you're coming at it from this angle. I don't like that. But then fuck them.
And if you
They're
are
not the
coming
ones
from
to
that
listen to.
angle, yeah. And if you are
Hmm?
coming from that angle, you coming from that angle. I mean,
It is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I mean, I don't know how many times I look, you want to start going through my wall here. How many of these people up here have fuck white people type of music and shit like that?
Uh,
You know what I'm saying? And I bought these CDs myself. I didn't just find them and put them on the wall to try to be like, oh yeah, what's up? No, a lot of these have scratches from listening to them so long, right? You know what I'm saying? But I still listen and I still love them. Like there's Pac right up there, Mo Thugs, there's fucking Wayne right there, and then I got
Lil John,
Tech
Eastside Boy,
Nine,
Lil John, the Eastside Boys
yeah,
with the damn
Lil Jon.
Confederate
Well, shit.
flag.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Lil Jon with the Confederate flag and everything like that. You know, I also got Cottonmouth Kings on here saying fuck the government and everything like
Yeah,
that. You know, like fucking T.I.'s right over here. You know, he's unapologetically pro-black,
very much.
and you know, but then you got all kinds of other people up in here, man. Yeah, there's Boosie right there. I got Boosie right over here as well too. Fucking Pimp C and shit. Fucking who else I got over here? Oh yeah,
You got,
fucking
you got some of
Snoop
the
and
most
Dre.
you got some of the most homophobic, some of them homophobic is all get up. And I mean, you know how
Oh yeah,
really, right?
yeah.
Transphobic is all damn
Hmm.
day. But
Yeah, absolutely. And then Outkast, the ones who were just nominated the best rap group of all time or whatever. You
exactly.
know, you got them. I mean, like you look at my wall right here, and you're like, okay, all right,
You
I
got
see it.
greats up there, dog. You got
Yeah. No,
greats.
definitely. And then you even got some shit that's just like this dope, like Nuck If You Buck by Crime Mob. Like that track right there was like their only really big one. I mean, they had that Circles track, but that
Yeah,
Circles was
and
way too, it
Rocky
was way,
Hips,
yeah, no, yeah. But when
Famous
they came out with their second album and they had that release called Circles or like Stilettos and stuff,
Mhm.
that was way too commercialized and they fell the fuck off. But when they had Nuck If You Buck, man, that shit went crazy. Just like Boosie and Webby right here, when they had do you hear the bed squeaking at the beginning, like
Uh-huh.
throughout the track? I can't remember the name of it right now.
Give me
But
that.
you know, yeah, give
Oh,
me that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
oh,
you
give
know,
me that. With Bun B
exact.
on every day.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Yeah,
step on that
you know,
beat.
but so it's about what resonates with you, you know, and like, you know, I even have that with my kids. When my kids play some hip hop music or whatever, I'll be sitting here, I'm like, they love it. Like some certain ones or whatever. Like one of my kids is like he loves Tyler the Creator.
Oh,
I've never listened to Tyler the Creator
I
in my
did not
life
like
until
Tyler the
him.
Creator until now. Yeah, and I started really respecting his music. So yeah, you can get it gets to that point.
It's not that it's not that I don't respect his music and stuff like that. I just can't feel it.
Yeah,
I just can't feel it, but you pop on some fucking Jeezy, I'm right there. Like
right.
Jeezy's one of my big ones,
Jeezy's
man.
cold.
Because like all his shit is all about fuck the diversity of anything. Fuck, I'm getting it. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, get the fuck out of my way. And that's what I like, and like
Oh,
that's
dude.
that's so when you put out your music, put out your music for you and everyone just like you. Like that's one of the reasons that I even started making music myself is because I would listen to some of these people, right? I would be listening to Pac, or I'd be listening to whoever, right? And I'd be relating to most of the song, but not all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so like, when they were talking about like for instance, like I remember one time I was going through some shit. Like two of my friends just died in a car crash where I was like 16, 17, somewhere in there, right?
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And I was feeling really bad. And I was listening to Pac,
Mhm.
and I would like some of the tracks and stuff like that, like I was like, it was half helping, it was half hitting that spot. But
Mm.
some of them, it just didn't hit all the way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because he never once talked about losing a friend in a freak accident. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't talk about losing people in a freak accident, especially in the hip hop realm. Talk about
Right.
people getting shot, getting locked up, whatever the situation is, right? And so I
Mhm.
had to like translate it through metaphor in my head almost in order to kind of get it. Well, then I started writing my own shit
Mhm.
anytime I'm feeling something, because like, you know, you are going to feel things based on your life experience that some people are going to 100% click with and some people are not. And it just is what it is. You have to just put out you have to be you have to do
Exactly.
you, and you can't try to fit in a box that is popular that you think is going to go good, because
And it
what's
doesn't fit
popular to
you, and you don't fit in.
well, and what's popular today is not going to be popular tomorrow.
Yeah.
you know like uh uh Brand Man, right? They had Wendy Day on not too long ago, like a week and
Yep.
a half ago, something like
Great,
that.
great episode.
Right, it was a good episode, and she had said something similar to that as well too. She goes, hey, she's like, I've been in hip hop for like 30 years or something like that, working with artists and everything like that.
Long
She's
time.
like, yeah, she's like, I don't resonate with everything, but one thing I do know is every time somebody bitches about one style of music, I always tell them, just wait, it'll change. You don't like mumble rap? Well, don't worry, it's going away. Or, oh, you don't like drill? Don't worry, drill won't be here for too long, because everything has its time and its place and it moves on. But at the same time, that's whenever it's at the top, it's the most popular. But when people like for me, like I like a lot of like hard hitting bars type of stuff, like fucking, I got Papoose up here, I like Pharoah Monch and Nas and shit like
Oh
that,
yeah.
like
Who's
hard
is tight?
hitting.
Who's is
Right,
good? Who's is
right,
cold? And
right, like those
Pharaoh.
hard
And Pharaoh.
those lyrics that boom 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 boom,
Yeah.
and boom bap type shit and everything like that. And that's not at the super hyper popularity, but people still make it.
Well,
Like
look at Danny Brown. I mean, Danny Brown
mm-hmm,
and JPEG Mafia. Dude, they're like
very
getting
eclectic.
30 monthly listeners on fucking Spotify and on streaming. So,
Yeah, and he's never really been on top of anywhere.
no,
You don't have
that
to.
weird, it's crazy experimental sound that they got.
Mm-hmm. And then that's what I tell people too. I'm like, look, especially when people try to be like, oh, I want to be, the most known in my city or whatever. I was like, fuck being the king of your goddamn city. Be the king of your motherfucking fan base.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do, because there is 8 billion people and growing on this planet until we have like a world war that knocks half of them out or something. There's 8 billion people and counting on in this planet. 3.5 billion and growing are on the internet. At least half of them speak English as a second language, at least, right? So you got billions, like over a billion people that have the opportunity to like what you have. And all you need, if you think about it like this, let's say, for instance, right now you're making $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month or $5,000 a month at your fucking 9 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm.
If you get 1,000 people to give you $5 a month, if you can give somebody $5, give $5 a month, that's $5,000 a month from people, right? That's just from 1,000 people. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to get $5 from every single person who listens to you. So you're going to have to get 40,000 people who follow you and who fly by night listen to you to get those 1,000 cult followers to get you that 5,000 a month. But then as you keep growing, then you turn and that 1,000 people a month on average will get you $5 a month. Some of them will be spending $1 and some of them will be spending $60 a month, and it's going to go hit or miss. Some people will buy your big products, some people will just do your small subscription to help you out. But it's about getting the real followers with you. I see people worrying about getting their streams up and trying to get on playlists and shit like that. It's like, fuck that, man. Build people who fuck with you for who you are and what you represent. Because if you can get at least 10,000 people who fuck with you on a halfway basis, out of that 10,000, you're going to have 500 to 1,000 that fuck with you hardcore. And that's where your bread and butter is going to be. And then you keep growing that, because that 1,000 people, if you have 1,000 people, I'm just using even numbers. If you have 1,000 people who fuck with you enough to give you $5 a month on average over a year, those 1,000 people are going to get you at least 2,000, because they're going to have at least one person that they can bring on with them to get you as at least a halfway follower. Because if you fuck with somebody enough to give them at least $5 a month on average, you're going to at least tell people that you know about them, you know? So that's what I always tell artists to do. Be raw, be real, be you, and just put it out there. And when it comes to feeling like, oh, I need to take a break, circle this back around to what we started out as. If you're feeling like, oh, I need to take a break, or I need to, blah, 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 don't. Like KP was saying, repurpose your own content.
Yeah.
You don't have to, like, okay, you're kind of hitting like writer's block or whatever in the head. Okay, fine. I get it. You don't have to always put out new music to put out new content. Exactly. You can repurpose your old stuff. You can take an old track and that's like, for instance, I got a track that I put out in 2018, right? I could literally reshoot a new music video to that today. I shot a music video to it back then. I could shoot a new one today and put it out there and totally rebrand the whole motherfucking track. And you never know, it could fucking go out to the fucking planet. But then guess what? I still have that track up on all the social media, or not on social media, on the streaming platforms. So and social media. So if I do rebrand it with a new music video for it or whatever, then it's going. Or if I just take some kind of cultural or hobby type of content and put my music behind it, just repurpose your shit. Exactly. And if you don't have the ability to do it, go on Fiverr or Upwork and find somebody to do the video editing or whatever. Or shameless plug, hit me up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like I taught myself how to edit. I edit all my own music videos. Obviously, I can't shoot them myself if I wanted to have, to have some movement with the video. Right. So I got my kids that are into, the shooting and the creating aspect, that they help me with shooting and everything. I've been teaching them some shit. But
I'm on the team. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And I also got people, a couple people I can get to hold a camera, whatever. You know, whenever I tell artists, I'm like, hey, look, shoot it yourself and edit it on your phone or whatever. Like, oh, I don't have nobody to shoot it. I'm like, you don't have one person that can shoot fucking video for you for an hour one day? What are you doing? I'm the most introverted hermit that you could think of. And besides my 2 kids, I at least got one person I can get to hold a fucking camera for me. You know what I'm saying? My dad has like a little bit of a shake. He'll fucking hold a goddamn camera for me. You know what I'm saying? I can
go out here and talk to any of the neighbors of people I'm friends with and just be like, yo, can you spot me right quick?
Yeah, exactly. If you're an extrovert, like this motherfucker right here, KP, then you can go out and talk to some random person on the street. Hey, yo, hold this real quick for me right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're extroverted, do that. If you're not, then if you're like me, you got at least one person that you can get, hey, look, can I ask you a favor real quick? If they want, if they're like, hey, I really can't, be like, hey man, I'll pay you like $50, man. Come on, like something, right? A lot of times they won't even ask for any money, right? But if you still like, hey, okay, you didn't want me to pay you, but here, take this 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you show them a little bit of love for helping you out. And then you just edit it yourself on your phone. It doesn't have to be super fancy. It doesn't have to have a bunch of effects to it. If you want to, take that time and learn how to do it yourself and everything like that.
Buy a stand for your phone. You got to do it solo.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can buy a stand, or you can even, like, if you want to get a little extra fancy, which is something I'm working on right now, you buy a drone that has follow me feature on it, right?
Yeah, that's
and you get one of the ones that has a follow me feature on it, right? You put the follow me feature, and then you start walking and moving around. It's following you as your background is changing, right? So you can literally
one of those, dude. By the way,
see what I'm saying? Yeah. So you could actually put it on follow me, and you can just start walking in a circle. Your background is changing as you're sitting there, doing whatever it is, I mean, I think of things from a hip hop perspective, like a solo
Right.
artist, but you could be a band or whatever, too, and you can have it set up. You don't even have to know how to fly. You just put on follow me and stabilize, boom, right there, and you're good. You control with your phone and all that shit, and you can get them for like a couple $100 on fucking Amazon. $100 I found one time for Amazon that has follow me feature.
That's
You
the
know what I'm
bomb
saying?
right there, dude. Yeah.
Like, you excuses are just points of failure. And the more excuses you have, the more points of failure you have. And just like a bridge, that motherfucker will come down after you have so many points of failure. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with your music career or whatever passion you have. The more excuses you have, the more points of failure it's going to have. And the more that bridge that you're going to try to make from being just a hobby to a career is going to fucking collapse right in front of your face.
Yeah. Don't waste your $1 million talent. Don't waste, I'm going to say it again. Do not waste that 6-figure to $1 million talent.
Absolutely.
A lot of people do. And I can't, I'm sorry, but I don't want to see y'all do it, man. In fact,
No.
I had to learn that. I really had to learn that on my own. Like, say to myself, like, I cannot keep doing this to myself. I can't. Right.
Nope.
That's why I'm like, yo, I mean, it's such a blessing just so we could wrap it up, man. It's like, now to just sitting here thinking about, like, it's just a blessing to have you as a part, as a podcast partner, as a co-host, man, because now it's like we're able to bounce off each other, bounce our ideas off each other. And it's cool because now, like, I also can go and do I still have my single podcast, but now I know how I can format that in a way where it's like, I'm not going to have to do it. I'm not going to do it the same way I do here. Right. So that's cool. And just being able to understand your gifts, right? Just understanding the gifts that you have, your talents that you have, utilize them. All right. Straight up, guys, utilize them. Because if you don't, you're going to be doing something you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
Or you're gonna be stuck in that place, be in that rut, dealing with yourself in that rut that you always talked about not being in.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if somebody tells you, oh, that's like a young person's dream and shit like that, like for instance, I'm fucking 37 years old in hip hop.
I'm 49.
Right. And you see that meme all the time. Oh, yeah. The dude's 35 years old, still trying to make it in rap, fucking loser or whatever. And it's like, no, dude, like that shit doesn't fucking matter, So don't take excuses. Don't take none of that shit. And I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, I'm going to assume something for KP, but if any of y'all watching this are like, yo, you guys are spending some real shit, but you just wanting to bounce a couple ideas or just get our perspective on your situation or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about him, but I do first free consultation, no problem. You just want to hop on a Zoom call with me for 30 minutes or whatever. Yeah, he does it too. So you want to hop on with either one of us and be like, hey, I like what you said on that podcast or whatever. I know you guys got your business, stuff like that. I don't know if I'm wanting to spend any money with you or anything like that to actually have you work for me as a marketing manager, as a brand consultant, or as a content consultant or anything like that, which is what we do outside this podcast. But if you just want to be like, hey, I feel what you're saying on that. I'm kind of feeling kind of stuck. And like, here's what I have. What should I do next? Right. And I mean, me and him will both tell you straight up with no strings attached. Do this, and this. Here's a free plan of attack for you. Just do your plan. Do this plan of attack. I recommend you do this, and this, just to bounce a couple ideas off of you. Right?
Yeah.
100%.
We're going to set up. In fact, let's set up an email for people to drop questions and stuff like that. And also we can do. I think once we find our spot of where we're gonna do, I think we should definitely start doing lives, going live and getting people who want to come in, want to call in, ask questions. I think that would be a really cool thing for us to start doing in the near future too.
Yeah, we can start that in the future. Bare minimum. Until then, just drop a comment or
just drop comments. Yeah,
just drop comments, stuff like that. Yeah, and so
let's set up an email too, so that they can.
Yeah, we're gonna set up an email, and then we're also gonna have a website that has all the content consolidated, and we're up on all streaming platforms, on social media and stuff like that as well too.
Yep.
Like we said, you know, this is the second episode and everything like that, but we know what the fuck we're doing, so we're gonna get this set up and everything. All right. So bare minimum, hit us up if you got any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, and we'll be more than willing to chat with you for a few. You know, no fee, no obligation, nothing like that. You know, if you just pick our brain for 30 minutes and then you go on and never talk to us again, okay, fine, whatever, as long as it helps you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because ultimately that's what we want. We want to help people. Now, if you want us to do stuff for you, that's where you pay us for our time and expertise. But yeah, exactly. Because just like you don't go to your job. Hypothetically, let's say you work at Taco Bell, right?
Yeah.
If you don't go to Taco Bell and then be like, hey, we want you to make all these fucking tacos real quick, but we're not paying you. You just do it as a favor to us. No, that's not going to happen.
Right?
It's not going to happen. But we'll give you some pointers and advice and just spit off top of the dome what we can think and stuff like that. Oh, no big deal.
We'll give y'all some gems, definitely.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up right here. Again, like I said, any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, drop it down in the message, and we'll see you later. And like I said, this is another episode right here of Music Making Sense podcast with me, Harkos, and the one and only KP.
Holla, y'all.